they loved him and what an influence it had had in their lives. And that influence, she said, touched them and now her children.
Eric Liddell was a friend. He was a friend to China. He was a friend to every child. He was a friend to every person there. He was a part of the spirit team in the Weixian concentration camp.
他自己的妻子、孩子也不在身边，所以把我们当作自己的孩子来关心、来辅导。特别是比我们年纪大一些的孩子，他们已经念完书了。到了晚上的时候没有事情做，那有的时候就去想去做一些往不好的方面去。那么他很关心这一点，所以就提供了一些健康娱乐活动，不管是球类也好，是其他方面的一些娱乐活动。所以在这一方面你可以看见他很有智慧。跟父母分开，父母就在后方，我们收到他们的信，有的时候半年才收到，所以跟父母的联系是非常少非常少。在那种情形之下，很需要靠山，是神的恩典就保守我们，让这么好的 Uncle Eric， 这么好的老师，就来带领我们经过非常难的3年的生活。
喺集中營，小朋友都喜歡叫佢做愛瑞叔叔。為咗令細路仔身心健康，佢安排咗好多運動比賽，同時又帶領查經班，亦都係最受歡迎嘅主日講員。唔少年青人都受佢嘅教導影響嘅。
We were studying that day. It was love your enemies and do good to them that hate you. He said, I noticed the next words after love your enemies was pray for those who persecute you. And he said praying changes the whole situation. When you hate somebody, you're self-centered. When you pray for somebody, you become God-centered. And so he said, I've been getting up early and praying for the Japanese, and he challenged us to pray for the Japanese. And from that time, I began taking an interest in the Japanese. I found that it didn't change the Japanese, but it did change me. My whole attitude was seeing people through God's eyes.
喺集中營嘅李愛瑞一直充滿信心同盼望，可以再見到妻子同女兒。雖然佢只可以透過紅十字會以25個字嘅信同家人聯絡，而每次佢都好積極咁話：集中營條件好差，仍然能夠喺學校教書，仍然充滿活力，仍然愛你哋。
妻子不在，很多的人在集中营就会乱来。Uncle Eric 不会这样做，他对妻子很真，对孩子一直抱着一个盼望，有一天可以看到他们。其实，在集中营里面有各种不同的人，包括一个妓女。有一天，这个妓女因为人叫她搬开，不让她住在他们的房间，那么她需要挂一些窗帘。Uncle Eric 就帮助她。那个妓女后来讲了一句话，她说：“这是第一次，我看见一个男人帮助我，但是一点要求都没有。”我想从这里你就可以看见他的真实。
好可惜，李愛銳冇機會睇到抗戰勝利，亦見唔到妻女。1945年，佢發現講話斷斷續續，行路亦極之困難，右腳部分癱瘓。醫生懷疑佢患咗腦瘤，但係限於設備，亦無能為力，只可以叫佢完全休息。1945年2月21日，李愛銳喺維園嘅集中營病逝。呢一張係日本人喺營中發出嘅死亡證。2月24日嘅安息禮拜，大禮堂坐滿咗人，而門外嘅人更多，為呢位只有43歲嘅奧運金牌選手送別。
He died in February and we heard in May, because this is still during the war, you see. And I can remember my father coming into the sitting room and saying that his brother had died. He just heard, they heard through the Red Cross. So then there was a memorial service in the church opposite the Eric Liddell Centre and one in Glasgow as well. And I must say the churches were packed. So there must have been about 500 at least in the service.
And I think there are 8 of us who carried his coffin, and I was asked to be one. There are about a dozen of us who walked right out to where the cemetery was, and it was a freezing day, and the Beatitudes were read, and then the coffin was lowered, and I remember walking home just shivering, with the cold, and thinking, in the course of events, I promised God that if I came out alive, I would go to Japan as a missionary like Eric.
幾個月之後，1945年8月，日本投降，美國傘兵亦都將集中營裡面嘅人救出嚟，佢哋都帶住李愛銳嘅影響返到自己國家。
こうして礼拝しているところでございますが、主よ、ここに集まっている一人一人の心に働きかけて、あなたの尊い。
The best story that I liked from my mother about my father was when he was a child and they would gather around to sing hymns in the evening. And they would sing, there are 90 and 9 that safely lay in the shelter of the fold, but one was lost on the hills far away. And my father would always break into tears. And his mother would say, we can sing that hymn, Eric, but you must promise not to cry. And so they would sing the hymn, and once again he would break into tears. But the reason I love that story was that it helped me to understand that even as a young child, my father had a very strong desire to reach out and touch people with the message that they were all loved and they would all be safe and they could all come home. And that helped me to understand, I think, why, as his life unfolded the way it did, he couldn't be with us. As tragic as that was for all of us, as heartrending as that was, I saw that he was a father that the world needed, and it was a father that we would have to share, and there was a good reason for it because he touched so very, very many people.
李愛銳去世之後，就葬喺集中營嘅後院，墳頭就只有一個用木板做嘅十字架。直至1991年，一班蘇格蘭人為李愛銳喺山東維園樹立紀念碑，將佢嘅生平寫落嚟。李愛銳嘅一生就正如聖經所講：那美好的仗我已經打過了，當跑的路我已經跑盡了，所信的道 我已經守住了，從此以後有公義的冠冕為我存留。